a Mashiach, to bring a Messiah, to bring redemption to the whole of mankind. May it come soon, quickly in our days.
One of the, I think not even one of, the primary reason why the Chabad is successful at all among students and among community members is because of its lack of formality. Many people who enter a Jewish circle for the first time Many people who enter into a Jewish circle for the first time go into a synagogue. It's all very formal. It can be very stuffy. And the whole idea of the Chabad house is that that stuffiness and formality is not present, what Chabad tries to produce at Oxford. And therefore it was imperative that we would have a student who has not been through the London dinner beat to address you, to tell you what life here is like, and to try and make it more homely. So I want to call upon a very close friend of mine who's been at this university for a great number of years. He's a medical student. And how informed can you get when the speaker's not even wearing his jacket?
So I got very hot. Reasons. First of all, he has a NASA computer center in his top office. And second of all, he usually drives around Oxford in a supercharged Lambretta. This is when his Volvo is in repairs. He's asked me to tell you a little bit about myself and also how the students see the activities of the Chabad House here in Oxford. Personally, I came from a part of London where there are very few Jewish people, and I received no traditional Jewish education. In fact, I was never even taught to read Hebrew. In my first year here, I remember visiting the synagogue and feeling quite left out simply because of my background. Therefore, I decided to pursue other typical medical student activities, particularly alcohol. However, a couple of years ago, through an interesting sequence of events which are a story in themselves, I came across some Jewish people in London and was informed that there was something called a Chabad house here in Oxford. Well, with a newfound incentive to find out about my Jewishness, I decided to visit this place, and to my relief, I found a very open and warm atmosphere. In many ways, it was a home from home, sheltered from the pressures of Oxford, and in particular, essay crises. However, I met a number of other Jewish students and discovered a wealth of debate and information which I'd never come across at all in the past. Even though I knew virtually nothing, I still felt I had something in common with the place and the people there. It was in this relaxed atmosphere that I felt free to catch up with 20 years of education I'd never had. To me, the Chabad House represents a haven of Jewish values and homeliness, as well as a place to question and balance secular ideas against one's own traditions.
Okay, please feel free to enjoy your main course.
Your time with any biographical details of our guest of honor. His name, his reputation are admired and respected by all those who value the principles of justice and integrity, as they are feared and loathed by those who were either the perpetrators of or accessories to some of the greatest crimes against humanity in the history of mankind. Simon Wiesental's life has been a testimony to the fidelity of the highest principles of humanity. His work has not merely constituted the dramatic apprehension of those who even now continue to escape the arms of the law, but perhaps less dramatically, but even more importantly, he has ensured amongst a very select few, he has been prominent amongst a very select few, the meaning of the word Holocaust is not forgotten. The significance of this is twofold. Firstly, in the world that is always too ready to find a new outlet for its incipient anti-Semitism, it reminds the nations of the world of what they have done to the Jews, not in prehistoric or medieval times, but within the personal experience of those still living today. Unfortunately, the lessons of the Holocaust have not been truly learnt by the rest of the world. We see today all the inheritors of Germany's Nazi regime finding legitimate expression in anti-Zionism. It is possible to equate the invasion of Kuwait with the repossession of Judea and Samaria following the unprovoked attacks on Israel by the entire Arab world. It is possible to cry crocodile tears for the lack of the democratic rights of the Palestinians when no democracy exists within the entire Arab world, but only in Israel. It is possible to talk about peaceful solutions even now with Saddam Hussein, the man who has perpetrated genocide on whole sections of his own nationals, using the same weapons in a more sophisticated form than were used against the Jews in Auschwitz. The hypocrisy and the double standards of the world make it more important than ever for the work of Simon Weisental to continue, long after the last miserable remnant of the Third Reich has died out. I said there was a second reason that Simon Wiesental's life was of the utmost significance to the Jewish people. There are 6 million souls in heaven, united with Almighty, who could not enjoy their eternal rest in paradise, which by tradition is accorded to martyrs, if it was their fate to be forgotten and to be denied justice. It is perfectly possible for society to put the entire resources of the state to catch individual murderers, but unfortunately it is also possible at the same time to argue against the continued prosecution of people who have committed these crimes against wholly innocent men and women and children on an unimaginable scale, merely because they had escaped prosecution for a lengthy period of time. I have to suspect that if the victims had not been Jewish, none of these people, including the noble lords and members of Parliament, would have had their sensibilities offended by the attempts of Simon Wiesental and others to bring these people to justice even now. Mr. Weisental, every one of us, Jewish or non-Jewish, owes you a great, may I say incalculable, debt of gratitude. Personally, I want to say thank you on behalf of the 3 grandparents I never knew. My mother's mother who perished in Auschwitz, my father's parents who were slaughtered we know not where. It is because of you and your work that they can rest in peace, and we who follow them can hold our heads up in pride. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to say a few words about Lubavitch here in Oxford. I was privileged to be able to persuade my former boss and close friend Alec Coleman and his wife Eileen to take an interest in the establishment of the Lubavitch Centre here in this ancient seat of learning, the building of which now bears their name. Unfortunately, due to ill health, Alec is unable to be with us today, and Eileen felt that she could not leave him at this moment in time. In view of their outstanding generosity to Lubavitch and to Oxford and to the entire Jewish community, both in England and elsewhere, I think that on your behalf I would like to send them our thanks for this magnificent contribution that they have made and are making to the work of Chabad here in Oxford, and to offer on behalf of all of us our best wishes for a speedy return to full health and the hope that they will be able to join us here on some future occasion. And the financial support that is received from such people as Alec and Coleman, that they are helping to spend the time of assimilation, actually producing from amongst some of the richest seed of our people, biblical purposes alike amongst the nations, so that by the grace of Almighty God, the Messiah will come speedily in our days. In conclusion, I would like to thank Rabbi Bertele and Mr. Simon Wiesental for creating such an important enjoyable evening for us, and we look forward with great pleasure to hearing Mr. Weisental give his lecture.
Anniversary of the expulsion of the Jews from England, this is a particularly relevant place for us to be dining with Simon Weisental, because it was in this street, St. Albans, on both sides, that the Jewish community of Oxford lived in the Middle Ages. And it was from houses on the site of this very building that many of them were expelled in the year 1290. So it's nice to see over the fireplace behind Simon Wiesental the motto, Magna est Veritas, great is the truth. I suppose the university here, like other universities, has as its particular goal the pursuit of truth, the transmission of truth from one generation to another, and in particular, the cultivation of the methods of acquiring truth. Of course, universities do this for its own sake. That is their job. But Simon Wiesental pursues and has pursued truth for the cause of justice. And it is for this that we all respect him so much. And so I would like to add to the motto which is above the fireplace the 2 words which normally go with it. Not only Magna est Veritas, great is the truth,
the University of Oxford, for the L'chaim Society, and for the Chabad, it has been a very busy term indeed. We've had a number of illustrious speakers, many of whom I'm sure you have heard. But the most illustrious of them all, probably one of the most famous and one of the most celebrated humanitarians of the 20th century, is here with us this evening. It is indeed an honor and a privilege, a great pleasure for us to host Mr. Weisental, and I'm sure it will be a great pleasure for everyone to hear Mr. Weisental this evening. Simon Weisental is a survivor of the Holocaust, the terrible tragedy which took the lives of 6 million Jews and about 6 million other civilians from different nations. He was an inmate in Nazi concentration camps for over 4 years, and nevertheless, at the conclusion of the World War II, he declined moving to the United States, as did many survivors or any other country seeking asylum, looking to build a new life, and felt he had a moral obligation to the victims of that terrible crime to perpetuate their memory through chasing their persecutors and bringing them to justice. Indeed, I stand humbled before you to present him to you. I am sure that what he has to say tonight is like nothing else you've heard from anyone this term. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Simon Weisental.
Distinguished professors, dear friends, dear young friends. First of all, I wish to apologize for my very bad English. For my work, I need to know 10 languages. I know only 8, and English is my last language. And I think this is a chutzpah to speak English in a lecture in Oxford. Second, I wish to correct a picture about me. I'm not a Jewish James Bond, and I'm not a Don Quixote, and I'm not in between. I'm only a survivor. That he dedicated his life to bring justice for all our tragedy. When I was liberated after 4 years to be in camps, that was the first time when I cried because I feel alone. At that time, I had not known that my wife survived. And all my relatives and all my friends were never alive. It was not one person with whom and for whom I could live. I belong to these skeletons. They was liberated, and the Americans, especially from the Stars and Stripes newspaper, was looking for special skeletons for photos, and I was one of them. The big photos, and my weight was less than 19 pounds. To be in the barrack, alone in a bed, previously was 4 in the same bed, I was thinking about my future. I was 12 years an architect, and first my interrogation with people, they liberated me, they asked me about my profession, and I say, yes, I was 12 years an architect, between them 2 years in the Soviet Union as an architect. And then they say to me, yes, first we will send you to a sanatorium, and later you will go home and build houses again. I say, what do you mean home? I'm coming from Poland. Poland is for me a cemetery. Every tree, every stone will remind me of this tragedy. How can people live in a cemetery? In houses for whom? People like we don't need houses. Then I was thinking the whole time, what is freedom? And I saw the biggest component of freedom is justice. Because all dictatorships, when they start, is immediately they ignored justice, and they have done everything against the law, and justice stopped to exist. So I think all these people, they survive with me, are coming in a world without justice, because it was everything manipulated from one side. And at this time, when I was 2 years in Stalinist Russia, I saw, seeing the similarities. That was maybe the best preparation for the Nazi period. And from the other side, was everything destroyed. Through a chance that a prisoner was beaten me 2 days, 3 days after the war, I resist. I could not walk. I asked the doctor and another friend, bring me to the American commander. They brought me to the American commander, and I tell him the story, and he said, we have a special installation, a special office. They are occupied with such crimes. So they bring me, and this was in the camp in Mauthausen, and in the offices of the former commander. And then I come in, they let me sit and look, and a new world had opened to me. I have seen the perpetrators of Mauthausen in chains. They bring them, and some Americans, they ask them, and I've seen is going something on in the field of justice. I told the story what happened, and they make a protocol. Until now, I cannot remember how I come back to my barrack. And the whole time I was occupied with this problem. And the same evening was coming other prisoners to me asking for clemency for this man. And between the people they made the intervention to me was the man who was later the Polish Prime Minister, Sienkiewicz, and other high Polish dignitaries. But I say to them, he had beaten me 3 days after the war. Yes, he is nervous, and he is this, and he is the other. I was not thinking the whole night about this, but the wish to go to this office that they call war crimes office, and this is an absolutely false description, and I will tell during my lecture why, that I ask again the doctor, bring me again to this office. So, they bring me, and they allow me to sit and to look. A half an hour later, was coming the lieutenant, he said, oh, you are again? You was again beaten? I say, no, I wish to put back this accusation. He said, what do you think? But we are playing like children. This man must apologize for you. I'm telling this because this is important. You will see what a role this plays. He said, wait here, and the appellate place, we will bring to other people. And so after half an hour, he bring me to the center of this was maybe 800 or maybe 1,000 prisoners. And this Mr. Sienkiewicz was coming with them. And he said to me, please, I apologize, I have beaten you, and please forgive me. And this American said to me, shake hands with him. And I say, no. I say, okay, I forgive you, but we will not shake hands because I don't know whom you have beaten before me. And maybe there are people that they are not more alive. This man was later the Minister of Culture in Poland, and before the Eichmann trial, I made a book about my hunt about Eichmann, and I must tell the people how I was coming to this business. And so I mentioned this about my relationship with this office. I came not from Poland, but when was the Six-Day War, the same man made a speech on the radio and said, Israel won the war because 1,000 Nazi criminals living in Israel, and they are fighting with the Israeli army. I have made a public statement, also on the radio in 67 TV, asking the man, mention one name, and I will bring this criminal to Poland from Israel. He could not mention the name, and the man was in reality very big anti-Semitic. I'm telling this story, why? Because you are all confronted with the request of people, it's time to forgive, it's time to forget. To this problem, I have published a book, The Sunflower. I believe this is one of my best books. Who has the right to forgive? And in the ethics between the Jewish religion and the other religions, especially the Christian religion, are a big difference. A Jew is not authorized to forgive the other. He cannot do it. And because he cannot do it, we are, in the opinion of the other people, we are haters. This book was published 25 years after the war, when from all sides, what they call 25 years after the war, forget and forgive. Now, after this incident, I was in Mauthausen thinking what I will do in the future. And then through this, because I have seen this office, and I was very naive thinking, when they will take me and I will work a few years to help to restore the justice, maybe later, when there will be a work of justice, I will return to my profession as an architect, and I was really an architect by passion. So I was coming every day to this office, asking them, maybe they can take me. And like the Americans, they ask, how is your weight? And they say, 55 kilos. I say, but you don't look like. And to finish with me, because every day coming, they say you know so much. Please, send us a letter that we can see what you know. And I asked them, give me paper, give me inkos, give me a pen, because at that time was not this, what we have today, the coolie. And 3 days, I make it, and I was in many camps and in many ghettos. And this was, they say, you must give it as a letter to the commander. I finished it after 3 days, and wait a few days more, and then I come to them and say, you have seen my letter? Yes. What is your answer? And they say, you are with us. But I have not made, at that time, for me a copy. And the copy I had received 5 years ago when the scriptwriter, Abby Mann, for the movie about my life, was going to the National Archives, asked the people what they have about Simon Wiesenthal. So they give him a number of letters that Nazis wrote to the American government that I am a Soviet agent and so on, some letters. And then the head of the archive said, but we have forgotten. We have a unique letter of Simon Wiesenthal. Many people was liberated, and many people sent us letters about 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 5 criminals. But the letter of Wiesenthal includes 91 names, and by many people also the 4th name. So he gave it to me, I have it, and now I ask friends, they survive with me. Between Dr. Robbins in New York, and he said to me, you know, we always believed that you are crazy. And 43 or 44, in the time he was in this camp and the other camp, you hear some of the prisoners was killed. You was always asked, who killed him? And from what place is the man? What is the rank of the man? You know his forename? And people say, no, we are here a few weeks, but maybe the people from, they are longer in the camp. And I have collected such information, not in writing, because we had not. And in the moment that I shook out down this, I remember everything. I remember the places from these people were coming. And during all the years, from this 91, I succeeded arrest over 70. Now it starts the war with the Americans. In Mauthausen, and my first boss was a professor of international law from the Harvard University, Captain Tarcusio. He was a lone origin from Caucasus. And our common language for communication was Russian. He don't speak other language that I know, and I don't speak English, but this communication was quite well. Later, Mauthausen was given to the Russians. Our office was coming to Linz, and Linz, they transferred me to Office of Strategic Service, and later to the Counter of Intelligence Corps, and I was working with the Americans. Have not accepted even a cigarette, because for a such work nobody should pay me. This is the work and the memory of these people, they die. In the morning, I was, before 7 o'clock, I was in the office and I was the last one. And how long we had these Americans, that they had liberated the camps, our relationship should be done. At the end, because my major W, he's coming to me. He say, now, Mr. Weisental, what do you think what we should do? And I say, and this was my opinion at that time, we are doing everything false. He said, oh, we are doing everything false. He said, yes, we are looking for guilty people. We should look for the innocent people. We will not have such a big job right now. The man could not speak. He looked on me, and I am crazy, or he is himself crazy, make us some noise. A week later, they call me and say, what do you make this man is... I have seen 25 years later, his opinion about me, to release me because with such man you can make nothing because he has some crazy ideas. In reality, at that time, after all this was a few months after, maybe 8 months after the camp, for me it was guilty, these people, they commit crimes, was guilty, these people, they look away, these people, they could help and had not help. And then it took by me maybe a year before I recognized myself for me. But guilt is not collective, but guilt is individual. A few years later, in the first television in Germany, it was I think 52 or 53, I was invited for a talk. And the first, for the interviewer had asked me, you are for or against collective guilt? This was at that time the big question in Germany. 52. And I say again. Why? And then I say something that my grandfather, and I'm coming from a religious family, told me. And I remember it and I saw it like for me. And I say the thesis against the collective guilt are a part of the Bible. And the man who interviews me, he said, I'm a son of a pastor, I knew the Bible complete. They don't exist as such theses. And then I say to them, and it was live, and later in all the newspapers. This is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. When Abraham cried to God, don't destroy this place. Maybe are 100 innocent people, maybe are 50 innocent people. Maybe are 20, we know all the story. And because the Bible is made for hundreds of generations to lead our life, is nothing something in that are an accident. People, they wrote it down, they know why they do it. And I say this. So, and now after this, that you see a little of my point of view, it's time to come to the present. All of you, especially in Great Britain, you are confronted with a question. Is it not enough, 45 years after the war, to be occupied with this problem? The world has other problems. Today, problems. And you are forming this cold coffee. And to say this, many people, they have not answered. And so to help you with the answer, I will tell you forward. This 45 is only a calendar date. In reality, only the first 3 years, all the Allies was looking for justice for all the crimes. But with the moment of the Cold War, the situation has changed. From this 45 years, you must reduce 12 years of the Cold War, because during these 12 years, nothing had happened. It was 12 years of a close season for murderers. I must return again to the Americans. And one day, we had a new boss. And he said to me, I knew it was coming, I don't know, from Ohio or from another place. And I understand the here in Austria and also in Germany. You have here Nazis and anti-Nazis, and the same in the United States. We have Republicans and Democrats. I look on the man and then I say to myself, the matter of justice for all the crimes have been not good hand. And through an anti-Semitic joke that another man told me, a week later, they say, up tomorrow, look for a substitute. This man told me, Simon, you should emigrate to the United States. A man with your fantasy, with your energy, will become a big shot. I say, I don't know why. I say, you must know. Red light and green light control the traffic. Everything else is controlled by the Jews. I say, what you say? Please repeat it. And he repeats me. And then I say, finish. It was at the time, lived in the camp. My wife, I find, we was together. And my oldest friends, look, we have troubles with the Americans, troubles with people, they don't understand the problem. How long? He was 12 years an architect. And I say, not now, I wish to make an organization. And with 30 survivors, mostly singles, camp survivors, we create without money the Jewish Documentation Center. They talk to the Austrians, they give us 2 rooms, and from a friend, he was a former Polish Parliament member. He said, look, I'm a poor man, but I think this is important. I will send you $50 monthly. And that was for us enough for telephone and for postage. And then I made it absolutely in another way by the Americans have made it. They had the experience, and I've seen what is the weakness. I know that at that time, we had in Europe about 150,000 survivors from different camps in Germany, in Austria, in northern Italy. And I made a questionnaire, only 1 page, because when people receive a questionnaire more than 1 page, nobody answered. And sent my people to the camps, and to some camps I worked alone. And this questionnaire was name and address, from what place he is coming, what crimes he remembered, what names he remembered. After 3 months, we could make a list of crimes committed in over 1,000 European places, and we had witnesses for it. We had no money to print it. The girls was typing it, time on the typing machines. We would send it to all the allies. And overnight, we become a factor. Nobody asked us, who give you the right to do it? Who are you? Everyone was happy that they are some place that they come, they ask. I was invited to Nuremberg, and was in Nuremberg, and I had one talk with a former Nazi, and he was the witness of the accusation. And he told me a story. And there I have seen that according to this story that he told me, we must change also what we are doing. He told me he was in Budapest, he was an Obersturmbannführer, and sat in Budapest in the casino with other people, with other high-ranking officers, and Eichmann was there, and a young Untersturmführer, a lieutenant, asked him, Sturmbannführer, how much? He said, over 5. And the young man said, and what will be then after the war? And he said, often people will claim for the millions. And he said to him, in the presence of this man that he was talking to me, Untersturmführer, you should know, 100 dead people is a catastrophe. 1 million dead people is a statistic. And I feel that he is right. We should look for the criminals. They kill one by one. They kill a family. They kill a lot of people. Not operate with millions. Not operate with statistics. I have later also between these people that I helped to arrest and bring them to trial, people that they was involved in the deaths of many, many hundred thousands. But I learned another thing also. You know the diary of Anne Frank? This little girl, 40 years old. This diary had a bigger impact than the whole Nuremberg trial. You cannot identify the fields of corpses, but with this young girl had written something without anything. People could say, oh, this could be my daughter, this could be the friend of my daughter, this could be my granddaughter, this could be an acquaintance like other kids are coming to our home. And this diary was made more than many of the trials because this brings the knowledge to people they wish not to hear about thousands of deaths. And then I saw why, and the whole years later until now, the neo-Nazis are fighting against the diary of Anne Frank because this brings them the biggest troubles. Troubles from parents, troubles from acquaintances. They say, look, this kid, this kid was killed and so and so. This was later my hardest case. For all the cases that I have, to look for a historic witness for the man who arrested Anne Frank. And I find him. And after the man declared, yes, I remember, I have brought down the Frank family and a few others. It was 20 years that you could not see in any neo-Nazi newspaper, not in the United States, and not in the United Kingdom, and not in Germany, not in Austria. The name Anne Frank was omitted. Only 3 years ago, people believed that the matter is forgotten, they are starting again. The whole matter, I must tell you also one thing. I don't know why I remember it now. Because this one was the first case that I was going with witnesses to a detention camp, an American detention camp, look for a SS Obersturmführer with the name back. And one day, people was coming to me and told me, I don't remember his execute a number of people and he refused. For this, they put him in a bunker. He should wait for a trial. But there was coming the Russian offensive, and they ran away and so on. And people asked me, look, this man, through this refusal, he has saved our life. Simon, please look, maybe he is alive, maybe he is in a detention camp. And then we got to that time, after our good relationship through the witnesses that we had, we saw the name. Other people don't know the person. I said, okay, we will go. To the people, and this was in Dachau. I spoke to the piano and say, we have two people, they wish to be confronted with the Obersturmführer, back that you are, so that I see on your list. They bring the man. And they say, yes, this is the man, he saved our life. I never saw an adult man crying like this man cried. And I spoke to the grandmother, you know, we are people, and things are people. They will never forget. These people, they commit crimes against us. And we never forget also when people save our people. So he should say, this is the first time that I have such case. And he telephoned to the headquarters, and then they give it to us. And we returned home. That was the first case. Later, I was coming with many cases, but it was other cases. It was people that they sent before a criminal and tell the whole story of his crimes. And one day in 1948, I came to Nuremberg. I was not very interested to see the people before a trial. I wish to see documents that will help me to bring people they are free for trials. Because in a trial, I believe the judge will be done through the prosecutor and so on. And then I was coming one day, this was August 48, and I saw, no, this trial will not happen, the other trial will not happen. From the group of the documents, the chief of the archives Liebergold, the same, because we had telephone records, he prepared it for me, and this was documents about the collaboration of Palestinian Germans with the Nazis. From all this, German countries say, I'm not happy about this, but this is the situation. I thought that other people would say, look, Europe cannot be defended without a German army. And we cannot build a German army and put German generals in jail. And then I saw the whole situation. I come back home, and I was so sad, I wish not to speak to anybody. And my wife said, you are sick, what happened? And I say, the Nazis lose the war, and we have lost the post-war time. This was not a prophecy that I have seen. During this 12 years, nothing had happened. And especially in 1950, after the beginning of the Korean War, you could not talk to anybody about justice. People emigrate. I have collected their testimonies, going to the court, saying, please, call the witness that this testimony is approved or a judge asking what isn't it? No. In 1954, all my people emigrated. I have sent a ton of documents to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, and I began to work for refugees. At that time, and especially after the Hungarian Revolution, was many people they could not emigrate because they had not a good profession. A bookkeeper, we told that speak only Hungarian or Czech cannot emigrate. And the American Embassy made a so-called STP program, and I was working with a number of schools to skill people in professions that they can emigrate. I have signed maybe many thousands of such diplomas. 2 years ago, I was in Mexico City for a lecture. Coming a man to me and bring me the diploma with my signature. He is now he has a big business he was a bookkeeper and we skilled him in some electronics or so. You see, I sent all the documents to Jerusalem except one dossier, and that was the Eichmann dossier. There was an accident that my office was 2 blocks from the family house of Eichmann. We know that that this is a lie, that he always tells people that he is a Palestinian German, that he speaks Hebrew, and so on. So this was only for him a matter of defense. But when I find that this family is the family of Eichmann, and tell it to my boss and it was the end of 45, Captain Omara on the Office of Strategic Service, he said to me, Simon, take 2 from the military police, make a search in this home. And at one moment I say to him, please send somebody else. Why? He was working on this case and now we have the family, maybe they know, maybe they have some documents. I say to him, I wish not to take the handle of the door because maybe Eichmann had this handle in his hand. You know, in the time when I was working for the American organizations at the right personal to arrest, I had never touched one of them. This was for me, the people looked like human beings. Everything in them was, in my opinion, empty. And believe me, this 12 years of the Cold War, we cannot get back. Because the Nazi underground organizations, they had used the Cold War. They bring out, in the time of the Cold War, from 47 until 52, people from hiding places, bring them to Argentina. Argentina was for the Nazis the Cape of Last Hope. And bring them through Italy. In the same time, 48, when Stalin had made this dirty trick, changed the government in Eastern Europe, in Poland, in Slovakia, in Czechoslovakia, and Hungary, refugees, people, they escaped, and the Nazi underground present the Nazi criminals as people with documents, and they were coming from the eastern countries. The man who helped them was the German bishop in Rome, and this was the Bishop Alois. I know a lot about this, but at that time was no place. I had not people with whom to talk about this. And the Catholic characters paid all the travel expenses for the refugees, although for Eichmann. Eichmann was presented as a Croatian refugee with the name Clement, and the some secretaries of the Cardinal Siri from Genoa, they are all other people between them and Mengele and the others. At the same time, during this Cold War, was also other people. They escaped from the justice. Part of them you have here in the United Kingdom. This was the voluntary collaborators of the Nazis. In the time when I was an engineer in the Soviet Union, I came to Odessa, a place with many Jews. I did not recognize people in the street because this was one great place. All people look the same. And when the Nazis invaded Ukraine, like Russia, the Baltic countries, immediately coming to them people and telling them, we know your program. You are looking for Jews, you are looking for Gypsies, you are looking for communists. And the Nazis was very content. They equip them, they give them uniforms, and they have done this job. They kill their neighbors. Their guilt is bigger than the guilt of the Nazis because they was voluntary. A Nazi say, I was going to the SS, not knowing it, and later they sent me to do this or this. But these people was the only group. They had a profit from the property of the victims. And in the moment that started the Cold War, before the whole German machinery was going back in 1944, the Nazis say to them, take your family, take your wife, and you will go with us. And so this was the only group that was allowed to come with the Germans to Germany. And in Germany was many 100,000 slave laborers from the same places. And when they arrived, they mixed with them, not below them. But they was between the first people that they are feeling, and the Cold War will change to a hot war. The Soviets will know them, will look for them, or some other people. So, they were going to the offices of the International Red Cross, help us to emigrate. And after so many years, the center of my name came into possession of transport lists from the International Red Cross on one side, and on the other side, there exist testimonies about these people written by survivors immediately after the war, and many of them are not alive. And the center sent lists of such people to Australia, to New Zealand, to Germany, and also to the United Kingdom. And this is the matter. I was very content when the House of Commons decided that this man are refugees for justice and not normal refugees. And according to the testimony, they was involved in big crimes. We should bring these people to trial. But the House of Lords was another opinion, and now is a matter of going again for the House of Commons. And I hope this will be a same big majority like it was before. But we have another problem in the United Kingdom. Maybe you heard and know, because this was here, this trial, this Comte Tolstoy, that somebody, that the British people had an agreement to deliver all these people when they are prisoners of war and they are coming from the Soviet Union. But there was one exception. The exception was people from behind the old Polish border, because the United Kingdom had not recognized the right of the Russians to take these people also. And in 1945, a whole Ukrainian SS division was captured by the British in Rimini and Italy. And this Ukrainian SS division was a part of that, was real fighters against the Russians. But by the end of the war, the Nazis don't need more the Ukrainian police. And the Ukrainian police, especially in Galicia, they made a terrible job against the Jews. And the Ukrainians were so accurate in killing that even to the fight against the Jewish rebellion in Warsaw was also taking the Ukrainians from Galicia to fight. And by the end of the war, this could not remain. The people, they made police regiments and later include them into the Ukrainian SS division. This SS division was brought to the United Kingdom, and they was in 8 camps. And at the time between 47 and 48, they transferred this between 8 and 10,000 Ukrainian SS men to Canada against the Canadian law, because this law was changed at the beginning of the 50s that had forbidden members of the SS entering Canada. We become all these documents and began to work and to persuade the Canadian government on the list of 218 Ukrainian SS men. We have a whole list. We find only in Toronto 28 of them, in other places too. But Canada is not willing to do something against the people. Think maybe you are right or not, but we need to have witnesses against every one of them. So I am telling you that you see, this is not a problem here about these people. They are here, they are problems in Canada. On the list of 700 criminals, people they are in trouble to commit crimes, 280 was from my office, then decided to put the people on the trial, 26 from all this, and the next trials are now. One was acquitted, and this man, they say, the man was the commander of the ghetto. He was working with Eichmann. He was the ghetto and said, he organized to send to Auschwitz 4,700 Jews. But we cannot bring the evidence that he knows that the people will be killed. Soon the man was acquitted, and was many people was witnesses they was in the camp. So you see, this is one handicap. The other handicap is a false description. And this is the description of criminal. Description was a German invention, Gebels invented, and his publication as well. And in 1943, it was adopted by the Allies, and since the war, is adopted by the whole world. My dear friends, the crimes of the Nazis have only a very little to do with the war. They start 6 years before the war. The building of concentration camps, the Nuremberg Law, the Crystal Night, the first preparation for the final solution is on the top of the war. And during the war, the crimes committed in camps, extermination camps like Treblinka, Sobibor, and Auschwitz, was situated between 1,000 and 1,500 kilometers from the front. During the war, most war crimes committed from both sides. Bombing Rotterdam after the Dutch army surrendered, bombing of Warsaw, bombing of Belgrade, Covenant, and also from the other side, Dresden. It was Hiroshima was a war crime. But they made the Nazis an industrial principle. Bring people from France through many places to Auschwitz to kill them. This had nothing to do with the war. But the war had nothing to do with that the Germans had invaded of Europe, and through this extend the number of the victims. Maybe I will tell you a small case. In summer 1943, the Nazis arrest 800 Jews on the Greek island of Rhodes, bring them by boat to Saloniki, and put them naked in a train without food, without any sanitary installations, and ship them 11 days Greece, Yugoslavia, Hungary, Poland. Only 156 came alive to Treblinka and was put in the gas chamber. What has common this crime with the war? Only that the Nazis invaded the Greek island. And when we are talking to people, they say, yes, war crime, the war is 45 years over. I have not another description. I call these crimes Nazi crimes. We have another difficulty, and this is the Penal Codex. The European Penal Codex is between 120 and 140 years old. In the time that this Penal Codex was established by some European countries, who was a mass murder? A man ran amok in the street and killed a few people, they could not escape. A man, after a quarrel, killed his parents-in-law or killed his wife and children. Or a man was released too early from an asylum, constructed some explosive, put in a car and killed 50 people. But the Nazi time gives us a new type of mass murderer that was not known before. The man sits behind a desk with a signature or with a telephone call saw his victims, and the victims saw him. And between them was a sort of a relation. Hey, but this man that he signed or gave the order to kill 10,000 people has absolutely any feeling for these people. And they don't know who gave the order to kill them. When I have the possibility to attend a trial, this is not very often because immediately the lawyers of the defendant say, oh, Weisental is coming, he instructs the witnesses what they should say. You understand? So I cannot talk to a witness. And only I look for a talk with the judge. And in the old courthouses in Germany especially, you have the very, very nice emblem of justice. The lady with the scales and the pointed arm. And I say to the judge, you know, I had the possibility to talk to him. This is a middle-class murderer. He is only accused of a few hundred people to be killed. But I propose you take away, for this trial, take away this emblem of justice. He said, I don't know what you mean, Weisental. You say this is here about maybe 100 years. It's not very nice. Look, this made a sculpture and tell me the name. I say, no, this is not the problem. This emblem of justice commands you to punish adequately. Can you punish adequately a man who is responsible for the deaths of 400? And this is a small thing. You say to me, according to you, we need a cosmic law. You say to me, no, I say, we don't need another law. I wish only that you know, and you can tell it to the lawyers of the defendant, that this law has only a symbolic character, that all the trials have not only a juridical, but also a historical and an educational importance. I had many, many such talks with the judges. And I have seen we had trials. Immediately after the beginning was capital penalties, and people could say the man had only one life, and with this life he paid for the crime. There are some countries that they have a real life sentence. Like this is in Italy. And literally, a man who has life sentence will not release earlier when the family of the victim is not allowed. But in the moment that you have a sentence with a limited number of years, the situation changed. We had the trial against the transport officer of Eichmann and Novak. It was over a million people to Auschwitz. He got, after 3 trials, he got 9 years. After 6 years, he was going home. So this was a few minutes per victim. So people are coming to me very often after a such lecture and say, look, we have losing so much time. We will not find all of them. The trials are not sufficient. We cannot have the real justice for them. Like to do it. And then I will tell you. That everything what I am doing, the whole value, is a warning for the murderers of tomorrow. Maybe they are born today. We never knew when the murderers of our families were born. In this morning, when the history will repeat, I believe, will repeat also such persons like I am. And they should know that they will never rest like these people. Today, in Argentina and in other places, even these people here in the United Kingdom maybe will come with law, and so they sleepless night. And their sleepless night are a part of the justice. And now, my uncle told me, Simon, you can talk about everything, but not for 1 hour. So, I will tell you about my personal motivation. There was many times I was in a such position that everyone in my place had said enough. It was a bomb in my house. The Austrian Chancellor attacked me. The political parties attacked me. There was a time that we had no money, we could not pay our telephone bill. And always in a such case, I remember there was an incident. It was in the year 47 in March, when we had our own office, and one day visited me 3 rabbis, telling me in the mountains in Carinthia are a very big Jewish library. And you know, the relationship of a religious Jew to a religious book is like a good relation. And they say to me, that Shimon helped us to save the book. This was the British zone before we got the entry permits. I had a small car, at the time I had not the driver alone, and the driver. And the driver, I, with 3 rabbis, in this small Volkswagen that was. And at that time, through the mountains in a heavy snow, after 8 hours, we came there, stayed overnight, and in the morning, I was going to the rabbis, spoke to the manager, and he gave us the permission to go to look. From the cellar to the attics, books and books and books and books, and I know that all for what reason they are the books, because the Nazis had planning for the time there will be no one Jew more in the world to make a Jewish museum. For this purpose, they sent specialists from the University of Strasbourg to Auschwitz, look for some people, they look typical Jewish, take about 30 prisoners, bring them to Strasbourg, kill them by injections, cook the bodies, and they have the skeletons to say, this is a skeleton of a Jew, and so they will have also the books. And we was going to look, take from book, one with a cancellation of the owner, this is from Prague, this is from Paris, this is from other places, from Finland. And in one moment, I hear a bell behind me. One of the young brothers was on the pole, and when he recovered, he began to cry and say, this prayer book is for my home. Open it, look, you see what my sister has written here. And I saw it. Whoever will find this prayer book, give it to my beloved brother, Rabbi Yehoshua Zeitman. The murderers are in our village. In a few moments, they will be here. Please don't forget us. It is 3 kind rubbers. I began to think about this. This is not a permission, not only a permission from a sister to a brother. This is the permission for millions. They die to us, they survive. This is their last will. And in this car, I decided to execute this last will. Thank you.